You got chickens, crabs. I was waiting on because look, my mother told me, now my mom's 75, and she said, now, baby, you're going to Australia. You know everything there can kill you, right? She said, everything there can kill you. So I was waiting on snakes and stuff to come out, and then I'd have had to run for the door. But no, hey, it's an honor to be with you today. What a privilege. I just landed on Thursday morning, got in from Los Angeles, and man, this is my first stop on a 30-day tour around Australia. So what a privilege to be with you this weekend. I've been married for 18 years to a beautiful woman who we have 5 kids together. 5 kids, yeah. See, nobody ever claps for that. Nobody ever claps for that, ever. You see how long it took right there? Nobody ever claps for that. And I don't blame you. They're like, bro, 5 kids. And everybody always asks that question, right? They're like, don't you know how that happens? You know? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, look at all this right here. She couldn't resist. But yeah, it's great, man. We get 5 kids. That's why I'm here. it's 7,000 miles away from my house. It's good. So, but yeah, we adopted a girl when she was 14 years old. We had 4 biologically. They were all younger than her. When she was 14 years old, she moved into our home, and we finally had the privilege to adopt her. It is great because she's not white, right? And she's a African-American, and where I live, that's a real issue and problem. Racism is so very strong where I live. And so we just tried to help her. She was born to a 13-year-old girl who was raped by a man. She'd never known her father. He went to jail before she was born for life without the possibility of parole because he murdered 2 people in Atlanta. And so she bounced around from foster home to foster home after her mom had her rights taken away, and she finally landed with us. So it was great. She graduated high school, and she's 19 years old today. And she told me, she said, Dad, yeah. She called me Dad since day one. And she said, Dad, I don't know why y'all chose me, but I promise you one day I'll make you proud you did. And I said, sweetheart, I said, there's nothing you can do to make me more proud to be your father, right? I said, you have air in your lungs and you bear my last name, girl, so that's pride in and of itself. So she's doing well now, and she's moved on and living her life. Is great. And we have in between there's 2 other daughters, right? So my firstborn is 17 years old. My secondborn is 14, and then we had a son who's 10, and then we had a girl, and she's 8. So needless to say, me and my son hang out a lot. A lot. It's great. My wife says, I love what you do, babe, but I hate that you travel so much. And I'm like, well, I know. She's like, but I love it. She goes, but man, I get judged so much. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because, you see, we got a black daughter, 2 kids who look like me, dark hair, dark eyes, kind of dark features, and then 2 little kids that look like they're from Sweden, right? The whitest children you've ever seen. Blonde hair, blue eyes. So you got these Viking children here, you've got Hispanic-looking kids here, and then you got a black girl here. The older we get, the darker we get, right? And so she walks in every restaurant like by herself with all these, like the United Nations, and everybody looks at her. They're like, lady, you need to pick a man. Girl, you need to figure it out. Figure it out. So but anyway. But hey, it truly is an honor to be here with you. We'll be here tomorrow morning for church and tomorrow evening. If you don't normally come on Sundays, I would just like to invite you. Would love for you to be here. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. I promise you that. Let me ask you a question. What's the biggest challenge that you face right now, today? How long has that been an issue? What's the biggest challenge that's going on in your life right now? How long has it been an issue? What have you done to change it? And my next question is, how long do you want that to continue? I think sometimes as men, we tend to just go through life and we work hard and we put our hand to the plow and we're providing for our families, or we're in school and we're just doing our thing. But sometimes we don't spend enough time thinking about stuff the way that they could be to the point that they should be. And that's what vision is. Vision is simply this: seeing things the way that they could be to the point that they should be, right? And that's the one thing that most of us don't want to talk about, is that one word: change. Oh, man. Change, that's tough, isn't it? That's tough. Because there's things in our life that we know we want to change, and we've tried before. Right? How many of you have tried, with some personal development stuff, you've tried to make some changes and they just didn't stick? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yeah, you've done that. We've all tried. Every January 1st, we get out of the shower, look in the mirror, and that's one of the biggest differences between men and women, right? A man looks in the mirror and he goes, yep, still got it. And we're 50 pounds overweight, man. We ain't got nothing. Ladies get out and they're like, I need to lose weight, right? No, but seriously, we want to make changes, and every January 1st we go, well, I want to change this about my life. I want to do this. New Year's resolutions. And they never stick. Why? Because we don't think about what it is that we really need to do in order to make that change stick. If you want to experience long-lasting change, there's a little process that has to take place. You have to change the way that you think. If you change the way that you think, you'll change the way that you live. I promise you, if you change the way you think, you'll change the way that you live. Because here's what happens. We think, we feel, we say, we do. And most of the time what happens is feeling like we need to change is not good enough. It never sticks because, man, I feel like I need to make this change. There's stuff in my life that I know I need to grow. I need to develop, stuff I need to let go of, things I need to move away from, stuff I need to go towards. And we feel it, right? But we don't really think about the change. There's an ancient proverb that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what do you think about yourself? What do you think about the situation that you thought about earlier? Like your biggest challenge? What is your biggest challenge? How long has it been a problem? What have you done to correct it? Why didn't it work? And how much longer do you want it to continue? I have the privilege to hang out with business owners, CEOs, executive leaders, pastors, all kind of people, and everybody knows what their biggest challenge is. But what would happen if we're sitting here together a year from now and you actually made that change? What would your life look like? How different would your life be? And see, the thing about change is it doesn't matter if you're 13 years old in here or if you're 73. We're all in need of growth and development. Nobody's ever made it. Like when your heart stops beating, hey, I made it. You go to heaven. That's when you've made it, right? There's always things that we can do to better ourselves. And I promise you, there's not a man in this room that hasn't at one time in the last 30 days thought to themselves, I know I'm meant for more than what I'm doing right now. And here's the beautiful part about change, is that it's not just change for change's sake, but it's change for you to become better, but also for you to make other people's lives better as well. I do what I do, man. I do what I do because I genuinely love people and I want to see everyone become the absolute best version of themselves. And it's never just about us, though. There's always other people in mind, too. Because this is what I've learned in life, is that you've got to have somebody that's a little bit further on down the road than you, helping reach back to pull you along. But you also have to have somebody that you're reaching back for. So there's somebody that you're reaching towards, but there's always got to be somebody that you're reaching back for. And that's the beauty of these type of events right here, is because you get to meet people, you get to find out what people's passions are and what they feel like their purpose is and what they're doing in their life. And you'll always, in a setting like this, you'll always find somebody who's further on down the road than you. And it's not a bad thing to get with them, ask questions. You know, let's check our egos at the door and go, you know what, I don't have it all figured out, right? I don't have it all figured out. But once we begin to, that process of change, you change the way that you think. All right, I'm going to come up with a strategic plan. I'm going to set this thing in order, and we're going to do it. Then you wrap your emotions around that thought. Like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this, and this. Right? So once you've determined what that challenge is, you go, okay, what have the obstacles been? What are the obstacles that I'm facing that have kept me from overcoming this? And go, okay, well then what do I need to do? What are some strategies I need to put in place in order for me to overcome those obstacles? Then you've got to set a timeline for it. If you don't set a timeline, if there's not an end date, you'll never do it. And you've got to have somebody hold you accountable to that, right? So you change the way you think. Then you put feeling around that. Then that's when you start talking about it, right? But what do we normally do? We get out of that shower on January 1, we go, yeah, well, I think I need to go to the gym. Honey, I'm going to start running. And we get out January the 2nd, and we go get down to about the mailbox, and then go, maybe tomorrow. And then we come back around. But we don't have a plan. There's no strategy. But man, I'm telling you, there's something powerful and profound about men who will dig deep and invite other people into their life, other people into their story to help encourage the change. It's powerful. But once you get to that place, you think, you feel, you say, you do. It's kind of like my daughter when she was in grade 5, and I'm cooking dinner one night, and she slams her pencil down on the kitchen table. She was doing her homework there. Slams her pencil down, and she said, "I'm so stupid." And I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty harsh." And so I walk over there and I said, "Honey, let me just help you with something. First of all, you're not stupid." But see, she thought she was, right? Because she couldn't solve this math problem. I said, "What's wrong, honey?" She goes, "I can't figure this out." I'm like, "Well, that doesn't mean you're stupid." See, sometimes we have to remove those negativity, those negative thoughts, and replace them with positive things, right? It's remove and replace. So I said, "Honey, this is that's not who you are, first of all. You're smart, you're brilliant. This is just something you come up with." I said, instead of saying I'm stupid, why don't you go, "Hey, I need some help." But isn't that where ego gets involved? Right? Instead of saying, "I need help," we would rather suffer with thinking and feeling something that we're not. Right? So I said, why don't we just change that? So let's try that again. I'm going to go back over here. I'm cooking. And let's try it again. And she's a little drama queen. She goes, puts it down. She goes, "Father, I'm stuck on this math problem. I need some help." And I'm like, "Oh man, what are you doing?" So I come over and I said, "That's better. I said, okay, so let's look at it. You need some help? I'm your dad. I'm here. And I'm like, I'm so stupid. You know, you're just like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. Honey, babe, I need you to get in here. Need some help. Right? Look, you know what's going on in her life today? She's a senior in high school. She's when she graduates high school, she'll graduate with a 2-year college diploma as well. She has dual enrollment. She's in college. She's taking college courses. You know what her number one subject is right now? Math. She changed the way that she thought about how to problem solve. It wasn't about her inability to do it. She just needed a different perspective, and that changed the way she felt about herself. It changed the way that she talked about herself, and it changed the way that she started living. Right? And it's never just about us. There's always somebody else. So we're reaching for help all the while reaching back to help other people. Because everybody in this room has been created and designed to help make someone else's life better. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, what you've done. You have the ability in and of yourself to help someone become the best version of them. I was here last year, and I was flying from Brisbane to Sydney, going out to Dubbo. You've been to Dubbo? What a lovely town. It wasn't. No, I'm kidding. Dubbo's great. Great people there, and man, it was awesome. I mean, they had guns and stuff, and they were like, "Hey, you want to go hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm not a hunter at all, and they just assumed that I'm from the States, that I own like 12 guns or something. The other day, he's like, so I just kind of pull the trigger, and he goes, "Yeah, you never shot a gun, have you?" He goes, "I just assumed you're from Georgia. You figured, yeah." But on my way there, I was speaking at I left on a Friday from Brisbane, Friday afternoon, and landed in Sydney, and the wind was brutal. It was brutal. I mean, the plane is doing this, then it was doing this. People are vomiting and everything. And you know, even if that didn't mess with you, the vomit, hearing it, and then catching a whiff, that just turns it into a barfarama, right? I mean, you just, and you know, and if you're not throwing up, you get those pre-vomit clicks that you get. You're just kind of like, oh, God, so bad. So we land, they shut the airport down. I'm like, I'm supposed to speak at this thing on Saturday morning at 10. How am I supposed to get there? They're like, yeah, it's going to be a drive if you rent a car. I'm like, well, I'm not driving. They're like, well, you can get a hotel room and get the first flight out at 6 a.m. I'm like, I'm stuck in Sydney. Now, there's worse places in the world to be stuck in, right? I mean, that's, you know. So I'm there by myself. I'm like, well, I'm going to go around. It's Friday night. I'm walking around down by the harbor, you know. I'm doing the old touristy American thing. There's the bridge. You got the opera house. The sun is setting, and it's, you know, it's just like, wow, it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's awesome. You got that great smell of dead fish down there by the harbor. It's just beautiful, right? So I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, now when I travel very comfortably. I'm not like, I don't dress up like James Bond. I'm not a spy or anything. I got joggers, these Converse, a long sleeve camouflage t-shirt on, a military green flat bill hat, and just to kind of dress it up a little bit, I was wearing these glasses. So I walk up to the opera house and I go, hey, is there anything playing tonight? And this lady goes, the Sydney Symphony Orchestra's playing tonight. I was like, you got any tickets left? Let me see. She goes, there's 2. One in the cheap seats, one in the box seat. I'm like, I'll take the box seat. Now here I go into the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. looking like a homeless man. I haven't shaved in like 3 days. I'm wearing all this. I walk in there. Everybody in there is dressed to the nines. Men have on tuxedos and suits, and everybody's drinking wine, closing big business deals. All the women have on sequenced floor-length dresses, and everybody's just dashing. And then there's me. And so I go in there and I sit down in the Abraham Lincoln seats. And then in walks this guy. He sits down with his wife next to me. He has this immaculate white man beard, just perfectly manicured, white feathered hair. He looked like Michael McDonald, right? Do you know who Michael McDonald is from the Doobie Brothers? You guys know that? I mean, help me out here. Some of y'all know them? Okay, everybody over 40 knows. Says, okay, everybody's like, yeah. Everybody's like, who's the Doobie Brothers? Don't worry about it. iTunes, check them out. That was real music, man. So he introduced himself. We have some small talk. Then these French people come in. And, he has like his scarf on and everything. And he kind of looks over at me. He's like, I'm like, yeah, French people. So the first piece was around the piano. The ensemble comes out. They're playing. And out walks this lady. She's in her mid-60s. You could see from where I was sitting the arthritis that had built up on her knuckles. And she comes out and sits down at the piano. And for 40 minutes, she played impeccably. She never, ever missed one note. Now, I'm not sure that I was ever supposed to do this, but friends, I did it. Let's see if we can hear it. Can you hear it? So she... Right? So there's all this, it's just amazing. There she goes. What? She did that for 40 minutes. Killing it. And I'm a redneck from South Georgia from Tennessee. Tennessee and Georgia, that's where I grew up. I've never been anything like that in my life. There's a break in the action. I was so overwhelmed. I was like, man, this is incredible. She's killing it. Never missed a note for 40 minutes. But about 25 minutes in, she does this number here and goes, and then kind of stops. And everybody stops. Now, where I come from, anytime there's a break in the action like that, you're supposed to let them know that you appreciate what they're doing. And so I'm on the edge of my seat, and she stops. There's the break. I'm in the box seat on the front row. And I do this. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah, baby! You're not supposed to do that. I didn't know that. 3,000 people sucked the air out of the room. They all went and looked up in the thing, and I'm just going, woo! The orchestra, everybody turns around and looks up here. Everybody stopped, and I just kind of went, sorry, my bad. Sat back down. And this kind gentleman leans over, Michael McDonald here leans over, and he goes, first time to the symphony, mate. And I said, yes, it is. How did you know? How did you know? I was so moved by this lady's performance. When she's done, everybody just applaud. Yeah, he kind of gives me the elbow. Now you can applaud. I'm like, okay, good. All right, yes, all right, bravo. Yeah. So, everybody's thinking, who let the homeless guy in? And but she takes a bow, walks off the stage, and then comes back out, and because they kept applauding for 10 minutes, they give this woman a standing ovation. I look over, Michael McDonald here has tears pouring down his face. I'm like, whoa, he's crying. I'm like, what are you crying for? So then I got emotional by that, and I'm like, okay, sorry, man. Oh, everybody's crying up here. The French people, they're just rolling their eyes. I mean, you could hear their eyes rolling. And so I'm kind of like, I was like, this was awesome. I was like, I've never seen anybody play anything like that ever. The mastery of that. And he goes, I'll tell her you said that. I was like, what? He goes, me and my wife live in London now. We flew in tonight because she's our best friend. And this is her very last performance ever. I was like, what? I'm like, I'm not even supposed to be here. And he goes, yeah, you're telling me. And so I got it. It's like, wow, that's amazing. So then I was thinking, how long did it take this lady to master this piece? How long was the commitment? What did she have to do in her mind to say, you know what? There's some things I have to change, some priorities that I have to do, that I have to alter to make sure that I could perform to this level right here. I was like, good gracious. It was unbelievable. Then he says, I'll tell you said that. And I'm like, wow. He goes, well, and so we started talking and really got connected. And then he says, well, we're going to dinner with her. I was like, yeah? And then he gave me the old head to toe again. Yeah, I'll tell her you said that. And then they kind of walked off, right? That was amazing. Now, on the flip side of that, have you ever been to a third grade Christmas musical at a school? Have you ever experienced that? Is that not the worst thing you've ever been to in your life? Other than the fact that you love your kids. But it sounds like they're murdering animals when they're playing up there, right? You're just like, wow, you're cringing. The sound runs up and down your spine, and you're just like, oh. And they're like, hey, Mom and Dad. And you're just like, yeah, I don't know you. And, you're just, I don't know them. Grandmas and grandpas love going, It's great. I've been to those. There was one in particular. There was this musical, and at the end of it, there was invited was the special needs class who came up. Some of them were in wheelchairs. Some of them had walkers. And took them a few minutes to get situated. And there was the conductor who was there. But each one of those kids were handed a bell. Many of them had cerebral palsy in the wheelchairs. And they were stuck in positions like this. But they slid the handle of the bell into their hands. And each bell represented a different note. And so once they got settled, the conductor then would point at each child that had a bell in their hand. And sometimes it took them a little bit longer to play. But eventually they would get around to it and play each note. And so she would point and go down the row and make sure that everybody was playing their note. And they played Silent Night. It took several minutes to finish that song because some of them could only muster up enough strength and cognitive ability to actually do it. But friends, let me tell you something. If you thought that I cried at the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, at that place right there, watching these children play their note, no matter how long it took, there wasn't one dry eye in the house by the time it was over. And they too got about a 10-minute standing ovation. And here's what I take away from those two things. is that every single person has been given a note to play. And it doesn't matter whether you have special needs or whether you're the featured concert pianist for the Sydney Symphony Orchestra or somewhere in between. Everyone has a note to play. So what is it in your life that needs to change in order for you to truly begin to play your note? I came a long way to encourage you this morning. Play your note. Play your note, friends. Can I pray with you? Lord, we thank you so much for the opportunity we have to come together and hang out and meet new friends and talk about life. And God, I just pray right now for every man in this room who knows what it is when earlier asked that question, what is it that I need to change? They know what it is. I pray today that you would give them the strength, the courage to face those issues head on, so that they can become the best version of themselves, but not just unto themselves, so that they too can reach back and help other people. Once they've really begun to play their note, that they too will be able to encourage others to play theirs. So I just pray for your richest blessing on your people today. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Bless you, friends.
Thanks, Jason. Come on, let's thank Jason. Who else could relate to being in the wrong spot, dressed the wrong way? That's just a common man story there, I'm just sure of it. Thanks very much, Jason. That was awesome. And I can't wait to hear more stories tomorrow. So we've got Jason with us all 3 services tomorrow. And I really want to again thank the team that put this together for us this morning, and especially those that cooked and served out there in the foyer. Could we just show our appreciation for all the cooks and cleaner-uppers and everything else that makes an event like this happen? There's more food out there, so on your way out, make sure you grab some more. I'm not sure what else is out there, but I know there's some hash browns, there's a few other things. So if you're still a bit hungry, grab something on the way out. Don't be in a hurry to race off and tag a few guys on the way out. Make sure that you see them in church tomorrow. Cool? So thanks for coming. Have a fantastic weekend.